Hey everybody, I am back home now and I've had time to digest the news that's come today that I've been talking about since Sunday night now about this Paul McCartney singles box set officially announced this afternoon and has gone on sale. It's quite a price. I'm going to be talking about that in a moment. So I've been making some notes as I've been travelling home today about what I think about this and a few thoughts on it, but this is hot news off the press, so let's just get some details out of the way first. So the Paul McCartney 7-inch singles box set is coming on December 2nd of this year, so it's a short time between announcement and release, much shorter than normal, but I guess they've got them ready. I think that means that they're probably confident that they're going to sell them all pretty quickly. I think if you want it, there's a good chance that these may all go fairly soon. But numbered limited edition collection of 80 7-inch singles, personally supervised by Paul McCartney. It's a lovely looking box. If you've not seen it yet, go and have a look on Paul McCartney's Facebook, Twitter pages, etc. There's a video there that shows the main sort of look of the box and the contents of it, and it really does look pretty special. Recreation of 65 singles slash promos using restored original artwork from 11 different countries. So potentially there might be people out there, if you're a hardcore collector of Paul McCartney vinyl, you might potentially have up to 65 of these discs already in your collection. Personally, I have none. I do not own any Paul McCartney 7-inch singles, which might be a surprise to some of you, but just not something that I've ever collected before. So it does mean that there's 15 singles in there that have never been released before on 7-inch. It doesn't mean there's 15 discs with songs that have never been released. You're not going to find this packed with songs that haven't been released, but never been released on 7-inch, including, well, various bits that it mentions on Paul's website. So there's also a 148-page book in there that contains a foreword from Paul, an essay by Rob Sheffield, recording notes, release dates, chart information on each of the singles. They do a very quick flick through of that book on the Paul McCartney unboxing video, and it does look like something very nice in there. So it's clearly a very expensive product. So for example, in pounds, which is what I'm interested in, £615. Yes, £615. It's clearly a lot of money, and obviously and very understandably, there will be a high percentage of people who straight away are not interested. And I completely understand that. There might be other people for whom you just don't buy vinyl anyway, and you're not interested. And I've certainly got some thoughts on the comment that I've seen so many times, and again an understandable comment about why on earth is this been released when there's such a cost of living crisis going on. I'm going to cover a possible alternate train of thought on that in a moment. So £615 for 80 vinyl singles plus the book plus this wooden crate that it comes in. That's quite a funky looking crate, and interestingly it's 2 calendar years in a row now where an ex-Beatle has released a box set in a wooden box. But when you break it down, it's about, if you say that the box and the book themselves are maybe worth, let's say 40-50 quid roughly, just for argument's sake, we're looking at about £7 a disc, which I don't think is bad when you break it down. Of course, it's a lot of money, but looking at what you actually get, that's not bad for 80 discs, I think, when quite often singles in record store day are maybe priced at a tenner each. So I honestly was expecting this to be about £800 in the UK. I was surprised when I saw it at 615. I was glad I had been sort of built up for a very high price, because it didn't take my breath away. It was actually a nice little surprise when I saw it. Oh, £615, that's less than I thought. But it's, like I say, price per disc, it's not too bad. Again, I've heard the term cash grab mentioned several times, which always does get mentioned on releases like this. As always, I'm of the opinion that there is no such thing as a cash grab. Nobody is grabbing anybody's cash here. You can either willingly hand it over for what is a very nice looking box, or you can pay no money at all and get access to every single bit of music that's in this box set for free. on streaming. So I don't think anybody's been denied access to any of the music on here, and I think that's an important point for me. It was a bit like the Flaming Pie massive, was it the collector's edition, the really big one that was about £500, where I personally decided I didn't want to buy that. But there was no extra music in there. All right, there was a vinyl that had Ballad of the Skeletons, but that was on CD in the CD box set anyway. So they weren't offering additional music that you couldn't get anyway. And it's the same thing here, and I think that's a good tactic by the record companies to make the music available for free to anybody who wants it. Or you can pay the money if you want for a premium box set, but nobody's grabbing your cash. Does this get in the way of other releases? So again, I'm hearing very valid comments from people saying, well, why this box set when we could have had archive collections? And it's only 2 or 3 weeks ago that I did a video saying, come on, where are the archive collections that we're wanting? I have a thought on this, and I don't necessarily think that this release is getting in the way of anything else. They can happen independently of this, I think, because if you're somebody who is not interested in this release, quite understandably, but you're wanting that archive collection, the presence of this release isn't going to stop you from buying an archive collection if it's released. And I think the record company will know that. If you are somebody who is buying this release because maybe you're in a fortunate position where you can afford these things, again, that's probably not going to stop you from buying an archive collection. So I'm not convinced that the presence of this box set gets in the way of another McCartney box set coming. Now, we may or may not get an archive collection soon or some way distance down in the future, but I don't particularly think that this box is getting in the way of that or altering what we would have got anyway from an archive collection. That's just an opinion and a point of view I'm expressing there. It may or may not be fact, but it's the way that I've been thinking about it. And also as well, coming on to this point that I mentioned a few minutes ago briefly that I said I would cover of cost of living crisis. Why on earth is Paul putting out this at this particular moment in time? Well, let's first of all say it's not just Paul McCartney. He has signed a deal with Capitol Records on the understanding that they can then sell his product and make the most money. So although Paul supervised this, it's almost certainly not Paul McCartney who's decided to come up with this release. It's quite probably Capitol Records. But anyway, that's by the by. In terms of this as a release when there's a cost of living crisis, again, I'm just going to put out there another theory. And this is purely a theory. I might be wrong on this, but I wonder if this is exactly why this product has been put out now. Because again, going back to what I mentioned a couple of minutes ago about the archive collection, for people who are having to be very careful, and there's a lot of people who've got to be very careful at the moment about what they spend, very understandably so, then this release is probably not for you, and it's probably not going to tempt you in, and therefore it's not costing you any money. The people who are going to be buying this set, by and large, are probably more the people who aren't too affected by the cost of living as much as other people. And if Paul had put out an archive collection now, then it might be that you could argue, well, let's say it was a £150 archive collection. Well, that's the one that you would wonder about putting out in a cost of living crisis, because that's going to tempt more people in who are maybe on the borderline of being able to afford it or not. Whereas this, if you're affected by cost of living crisis, just forget that this exists. It's probably wasn't designed for you in the first place, potentially. Like I say, that's just a theory, a point of view. It might be completely wrong, but I did wonder whether this had been deliberately done now to kind of aim it at people who weren't going to be so affected by that. I don't know, just a thought. So, have I ordered it? Yeah, I've ordered it. Oh yes, I've ordered it. Like I say, when I was expecting it to be about £800, and it was like, oh, it's 800 quid, flipping heck. But based on the fact that, like I say, I haven't got any Paul McCartney singles, 7-inch singles, and the fact that it was a lot cheaper than I was expecting, even though it's still ridiculously expensive, I couldn't resist it. I couldn't resist it. I ordered straight away, so I am looking forward to this. Whether I will keep it forever, I don't know. I might enjoy the product for a while and try and look after it as well as I can, and then I might come to a point where I think I've had my enjoyment from this. I'll sell it on to somebody else. I don't know yet. We'll see. But it might be like a lot of things. Once you've actually got it in your room, you don't want to let it go. We'll see. But I have bought it, so I will be doing things like an unboxing of it. I think I'm going to do 2 unboxing videos. I'll do like one sort of fairly standard one, and I will do an in-depth one where all 80 discs. You would be welcome to join me for one or both of those. Obviously, at the time, sometime around the 2nd of December, I hope it gets to me very close to or on the release day. We will see. Postal strikes in the UK are affecting things at the moment, so Lord knows when we might get it. But I am excited for this. It is a niche product. It's not one that I saw coming, although, like I say, I knew a few days ago that something was happening this week. Didn't know until yesterday afternoon that this is what it was going to be. But interesting. Certainly not something that we saw coming. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'm sure some of you will completely disagree with some of the theories that I've just put forward, and fair enough. But let's be friendly about it, eh? Shall we? Anyway, I will be back soon with my what I think they got very right and what I think they got very wrong in the Revolver box sets. That hopefully will be my next video, unless something else crops up in the meantime. So I hopefully will see you for that, and I will see you again very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.